What's up, basketball fans? Hookshot Drew once again here with Superb Sports Media. I kept up with the preseason for basketball a little bit more closely than usual this season, and a big reason for that was the rookie class. The rookie class coming into the NBA 2023-2024 season, I believe, is one of the more exciting rookie classes we've seen in the past decade plus. Obviously, you got the crown jewel of the class, Victor Wembanyana, but other guys like Brandon Miller, Scoot Henderson, and as a Mavs fan, Derek Lively. I think this is a pretty exciting class, and I'm wondering if these guys can make a huge impact on their teams and maybe put some of these older stars to pasture. No disrespect intended. Maybe a little bit of disrespect intended. This got me really thinking. How many of these players are really NBA ready right off the bat? These guys get crazy preparation compared to just several years ago. Major university programs, the NBA G League, private athletic academies. How much of this is going to affect them and their teams as pro rookies? Can a guy like Victor Wembanyana really change life right off the bat for his team? These guys we're about to cover today, they prove that can happen. To start off, I'm going to talk about Larry Bird, and heads up, this won't be a chronological list or anything. I just want to talk about Larry Legend first, as he's going to kind of fit my narrative more closely than some of these other guys. So to give you an idea, Larry Bird was actually drafted in 1978 out of Indiana State University by the Boston Celtics, but he decided to stay another year for his senior year. And what a decision that was. He took a program that really wasn't known for basketball or winning too much in basketball and led them to a 33-0 record and their first national championship appearance against Michigan State, led by Earvin Magic Johnson. A man that would become pivotal and really a central figure in Larry Bird's career and life, really. I've had a chance to read a biography that was co-authored by both of these guys, and it's been eye-opening to see from their perspective just how this rivalry affected them, not only on a personal level, but as a professional, as professional basketball players. These guys met young before either of them or anyone knew who they were. And they competed, and it's funny reading that book. These guys knew that they were going to be crossing paths a lot. These guys knew that the other guy was the best basketball player they had ever seen, and they met each other at a tournament before these guys were even big stars in college. To give you an idea, it was just that the moment they met each other, they're like, that guy right there is going to be a thorn in my side, and I need to be better than him. And it's almost like poetry, seeing these guys just from right away knowing that they were going to be rivals. Let's get right into it. Let's see. How did Larry Bird affect the Boston Celtics as a rookie? So Larry Bird lost the 1979 national championship game against Magic Johnson, and this only further fueled his desire to end up becoming a better player than Magic Johnson. That game set TV records for viewership, and it launched the NBA to further heights when they both hit the NBA in the 79-80 season, Bird joining the Celtics. At the same time, Magic Johnson, as the number one overall pick, joined the LA Lakers. Celtics, Lakers, Bird, Magic Johnson. You couldn't write it any better than this. Now, Larry joined a Celtics team that won just 29 games a year before, and despite having guys like Dave Cowens and JoJo White left from the 76 championship team, as well as Tiny Archibald and Cedric Maxwell, the Celtics have been in complete freefall since then. The team shuffled through former players as coaches in quick succession. After former player Tom Heinsohn won the last ring in 76, Tom Sanders and Cowens himself tried their hand at coaching the team before, and Cleveland Cavaliers coach Bill Fitch took the job. We briefly mentioned Fitch in our video with the Bullets vs. Knicks rivalry video that you can watch here. Fitch was a very underrated coach who grew a reputation for being able to build young teams into winners. Despite being a rookie surrounded by stars, Larry instantly became the star and focal point of the Celtics, leading the team in points, rebounds, and steals as the Celtics finished 61-21, good for the best record in the entire NBA for the 79-80 season, up from the second worst record in the NBA the year before. Bird and the C's swept the Rockets before losing in 5 to the 76ers, led by Dr. J and Chocolate Thunder Daryl Dawkins. The Celtics would win the finals the very next season in 80 and 81 after getting yet another important rookie, third overall pick Kevin McHale, as well as the Warriors' Robert Parrish. Now, it doesn't feel appropriate to not immediately talk about Magic Johnson when I just spent some time covering Larry Bird and his instant impact on the Celtics. The reality was these two superstar careers and lives would forever be tied to one another. The 79-80 season was a true changing of the guard for not only the NBA, but for the two legendary franchises and fierce rivals, the Celtics and the Lakers. Fresh off beating Bird's Indiana State team in the NCAA championship game, Magic was drafted number 1 overall to the Lakers in the 79 draft, joining Kareem and Jamal Wilkes on the Lakers squad. Kareem had come to LA in the 75-76 season, but the Lakers hadn't been able to get over the hump and back into championship prominence without a bona fide superstar to pair with him. A young Adrian Dantley was paired with Kareem for the preceding 2 seasons, but the Lakers didn't get much out of Dantley and felt compelled to trade him for Spencer Haywood, who had a solid finish to his 78 season after being traded to the Jazz from New York. Dantley would go on to have a Hall of Fame career with the Jazz, with Haywood only playing for the Lakers for that 1 season, before struggling with substance abuse issues and retiring soon after. Trading a Hall of Famer for almost nothing in return isn't exactly a recipe for success, but twice the Lakers would be extremely lucky in getting the number 1 overall pick and getting a true difference maker. The Lakers made the playoffs the year before getting Magic, but they earned the pick from the Jazz, getting Gail Goodrich away from the Lakers, which the Jazz had the worst record in the NBA in 78-79, awarding their pick and the rights to the greatest point guard of all time to the Showtime Lakers. I mentioned before that the Boston Celtics with the rookie Larry Bird held the best record in 79-80 with 61 games won, but the Lakers with the rookie Magic Johnson had the best record in the West and the second overall at just 1 game off at 60 games won. Although Magic would go on to become the greatest point guard of all time, the Lakers already had a good one at that time in Norm Nixon. Magic was the starting shooting guard for the Lakers for the first few years of his career. With Nixon and Magic at the guard spots, Lakers forward Wilkes continued his career ascension, scoring over 20 a game for the first time in his career, with Kareem leading the Lakers in scoring with 24.8 points to go, along with 11 boards and more than 3 blocks a game. Armed with an incredibly balanced and fast-paced offense, and blessed with good health throughout the season, the Lakers blew through the NBA playoffs, dismantling the Suns and defending champion Supersonics in just 5 games apiece, before defeating the Dr. J-led Sixers in the 80 NBA Finals. Rookie Magic Johnson won the Finals MVP with an insane stat line of 21.5 points, 11 rebounds, nearly 9 assists, and 2.7 steals a game. Magic completed one of the greatest rookie seasons ever with the ring and the MVP, but here's how his regular season rookie stat line looked. 18 points, 7 assists, and nearly 8 boards to go with 2.4 steals a game. He shot 53% from the field in the regular season, as opposed to 57% in the finals. One of the best looking stat lines ever for a rookie in the regular season, and he still managed to improve upon that in the biggest games of his life to that point. Ice in his veins. Now, the record books will show that to this day, the only rookie player ever to win Finals MVP is Magic Johnson, but that's only because they didn't start naming a Finals MVP until 1969, when Jerry West became the first and so far only player to win Finals MVP as a losing player, and the very first time they named one. It's really strange. Who did he lose to? Bill Russell, and his final season as player and as a coach that season. Let's talk about Bill Russell and how his rookie season looked now. Now, they may not have named a Finals MVP back in Bill's day, but make no mistake, Bill Russell was the centerpiece in the greatest dynasty in American sports. So much so that when Bill was chosen second overall by the St. Louis Hawks before immediately being traded to the Celtics, that the cost to get him was considered a steal in hindsight. The Celtics gave up big men Easy Ed Macaulay and Cliff Hagan, both Hall of Famers, to get Russell. Coach Red Auerbach had been coaching the Celtics since 1950, and although they made the playoffs every year to that point, they were unable to compete with the likes of the Minneapolis Lakers, led by George Mikan, or the Philly Warriors and Syracuse Nationals. The Celtics had been one of the most talented teams when it came to scoring, but left a lot to be desired on the defensive end. Bill Russell was a completely unorthodox player coming out of the University of San Francisco. Despite all of the success in college that anyone could ever ask for, Russell wasn't considered cut out for the professional game, which emphasized scoring at the time. Russell's unique skill set was much more tailored to great shot blocking, great help defense, as well as top-notch rebounding, but it wasn't really set much for scoring. Auerbach saw the perfect player and the final piece to the puzzle that was the Boston Celtics of the 1950s. With talented scorers like Bob Cousy, Tom Heinsohn, and Bill Sherman, the Celtics used Russell's game to secure rebounds and limit baskets from opponents and fire passes to the great scoring trio. The Celtics won 44 games, good for best in the 8-team NBA of the 56-57 NBA season. The Celtics swept the defending champion Syracuse Nationals in 3 games before battling their preseason trade partners, the St. Louis Hawks, in the NBA Finals. Despite 30 points and 18 boards a game from Bob Pettit, as well as good performances by the former Celtics Macaulay and Hagan, the Celtics won in 7 games, earning Russell and Auerbach their first of many rings. Bill Russell's final stat line looked like this: 13 points, 23 boards, and 3.3 assists, with the scoring trio of Sherman, Cousy, and Heinsohn all averaging better than 20 a game. For the regular season, Russell averaged 14.7 points, 20 boards, and nearly 2 assists a game in 48 games. Teammate Cousy did win the second MVP ever. Hawks' Bob Pettit was the first to win it the year before. Russell could have very well won the MVP his rookie season, however, had he played the entire season, but he elected to compete in the Olympics, which ran into the beginning of the NBA season, with Bill earning a gold medal on the undefeated U.S. team that won over the Soviet Union team. The U.S. team won by an average margin of nearly 54 points to win the 56 Olympic Games for basketball. This man wasn't just successful on every level of basketball, he was always the centerpiece of teams that won in dominant fashion. The next man we'll be talking about today might have some obvious similarities with Wemby, but it doesn't make it any less important to discuss. The greatest power forward of all time decided to stay in college at Wake Forest for all 4 seasons at a time when it was very common for great elite prospects to join the NBA right after high school. And Spurs fans, you should thank your lucky stars that he decided to do that, because a lot of scouts and experts thought as far back as 95 he could have been the number 1 overall pick, but instead, Tim Duncan was the number 1 overall pick for the 1997 NBA season. The timing worked out, as fellow big man and former number 1 overall pick David Robinson missed most of the 96-97 NBA season with injuries. Coach Bob Hill was fired after 18 games and was replaced by the Spurs GM. Some guy named Greg Popovich decided Greg Popovich would be a better coach for the team. The team struggled the rest of the way, only winning 20 games, but earning the right to the number 1 overall pick and the U.S. Virgin Islands' own Timmy D. With the return of a healthy David Robinson, the Spurs roared back in the 97-98 NBA season with the rookie Duncan pairing with Robinson to form the Twin Towers, with both men enjoying uncanny similar seasons, with both averaging over 21 points, 10.5 boards, and 2.5 blocks a game. With other great role players like future coaches Avery Johnson, Vinny Del Negro, Monty Williams, as well as Sean Elliott and Jaren Jackson Sr., the Spurs won 56 games and advanced to the semifinals against the Jazz after beating the Suns in 4. The series against the Jazz was often slow and prodding, with both teams averaging just 85 points a game. This style seemed to favor the more senior Jazz star duo of Stockton and Malone more. Although the series scoring and team field goal percentage were razor close, the Jazz won all of the close games, with the Spurs winning just 1 game, the only blowout of the series, Game 3 in San Antonio, when the Spurs held the Jazz to 29% as a team and only 64 points total. The Jazz won the series, but the blueprint was written for the Spurs to succeed. The very next season, the lockout-shortened 99 season, the Spurs won on a league-best 37 games, only 50 total games were played, and dominated throughout the playoffs, going 15-2, including a 4-1 series win against the New York Knicks in the 99 finals. For the series, second-year player Tim Duncan averaged 27 points, 14 boards, a steal, and 2 blocks a game to win the Finals MVP in his sophomore season. Each one of these men created an everlasting legacy for the teams that took a chance on drafting them, and in some cases it wasn't much of a chance, as it would have been an even larger risk to allow another team to have drafted them, but it proved that one big decision, one great decision, can create a huge wave of change for a team. Now, all these players were centerpieces on dynasties, and it is hard to see what a player will develop into. I mean, they still have to be coached and developed into that kind of player. But I think this rookie class has the chance, or has the opportunity, to have that kind of legacy created for themselves, provided that they can develop and work on their game. I mean, they still have to put in that work to become those players. But let me know if you believe my hunch on these players is correct. Can a Victor Wembanyana become a dynasty type player? Can Brandon Miller, Scoot Henderson, Derek Lively, or any other player I'm sure I haven't mentioned, can these guys become centerpieces for dynasty level championship teams? Let me know in the comments. If there's any rookie that you see coming out of this draft class that you have high hopes for or you believe can be a huge superstar in the years to come, let us hear it. We want to start a discussion on that. That's why we do these videos. We want discussions based on basketball. Now, I'm sure some might be typing it up already. Why didn't you mention Michael Jordan? Why didn't you mention LeBron James? Most of the reason why I didn't is because I feel like most people that would watch these type of videos probably know how their careers turned out, especially a guy like LeBron who's still playing. But obviously Michael Jordan was huge. He stepped onto the scene in Chicago as a rookie. They never missed the playoffs again until he retired and after 98. And LeBron, you know, since both of them are sensational rookies, and within a couple years, their teams, which by the way, the Bulls and the Cavaliers were not known to be successful teams before they arrived. But again, they're both so well known that I wanted to shine a light on some of these other very well known players, but maybe their careers, as far as with younger audiences, are not as well known. So that's why I wanted to cover these guys today. But if you felt like there's another rookie that really changed life for his franchise that he was drafted to, and I didn't mention them, let us know in the comments. Let's start a discussion on it. I'm sure there's a name or two that I forgot to mention. Now, if you like this type of content and you'd love to learn more about basketball storied past, give this video a like and consider subscribing to us today. Share with any of your friends that love basketball, and we would love to share more videos with you. I am Hookshot Drew, and I thank you for giving us a chance and supporting us today. If you'd like to support us even more, consider subscribing to our Patreon. Now, we don't have much on there right now, but subscribing will give you access to voting on our next topics. You'll get more precedence over YouTube comments. Which YouTube comments, don't worry, we'll have you covered. We reply to all of our comments. I'm pretty engaged with it. But on Patreon, we'll eventually have giveaways for 2K, for Madden and other sports games, and we'll also have game tickets on there. But anyway, I am Hookshot Drew. I appreciate you watching this video today, and check us out for more. Thank you.